My name is Olivia, and I recently welcomed my daughter, Elena, into the world. As her first birthday approaches, I find myself grateful for my husband's unwavering support during this new chapter of our lives. However, there's a significant challenge lurking beneath the surface. My relationship with my mother-in-law, Helen, has always been rocky, and recent events have strained it even further. Let me explain how we arrived at this point. From the start, Helen and I clashed. I remember a particular family meeting at their house, where I was greeted by an overwhelming display of pink balloons and decorations that screamed femininity. The dinner was filled with dishes I had clearly said I couldn't eat, leaving me feeling frustrated and overlooked. My husband was furious and apologized profusely once we returned home. That incident made me question our marriage, but he pleaded with me to reconsider under a set of strict conditions. We would limit our interactions to significant life events, never share meals at his parents' house, avoid overnight stays, and if he wanted to visit for holidays, he would go alone while I spent time with my own family. We also agreed not to share contact information, which was easy since landlines were becoming obsolete. We understood that if these boundaries were crossed, I would return to my parents, and we would either cut ties with Helen or consider divorce. Despite our efforts, Helen continued to create drama. At our wedding, she showed up in an incredibly inappropriate white mini dress, forcing the staff to escort her out. She later returned in what I assume were her regular clothes, but not before complaining to our relatives, saying, "I had that dress made for my son's wedding, but the bride complained. I want my money back." Thankfully, my relatives supported me, and no one blamed me for her behavior. During the cake-cutting ceremony, she tried to spill wine on my dress, which led to her being removed again, while my husband apologized profusely for her antics. My husband was embarrassed and apologized not only to me but also to my parents and relatives. Even they had witnessed Helen's outrageous behavior, and some suggested I reconsider the marriage. However, after seeing my husband's sincere remorse, they felt he was a good man and offered their sympathy. For a while, life settled down, just the two of us in our new home. Then one day, everything changed. I typically work from home, a routine my husband and I have maintained since we started dating. However, this didn't sit well with Helen, who would often say, "You can't be doing real work from home. You must be up to no good, probably entertaining men." My husband defended me, but Helen remained relentless. Things took a turn when I had to go out for work one day. When I returned home, I sensed something was off. The door was unlocked, which set off alarm bells. I called my husband, anxious. "You're still at work, right?" I asked. "Yeah, what's going on?" he replied. "I told you I had work outside today, and I locked the door. It's open now, someone's inside." I could hear noises from within, footsteps and things being moved around. "Someone's in the house." "Got it, I'm on my way home. Go wait at a nearby diner." Following his instructions, I waited anxiously until he called. For a moment, I feared he was cheating, but the truth was even worse. Helen had made a copy of our house key. "Are you kidding me?" I exclaimed. Apparently, she had stolen a key from my husband's key ring during a visit and had it duplicated. "That sounds criminal. It's your fault for not giving me one in the first place." I heard her voice in the background, and I couldn't believe it. I insisted my husband hand her the phone. "Listen, Helen," I said, furious. "You clearly don't understand the boundaries of being a daughter-in-law. You should be the one making an effort to come over, yet you never celebrate holidays with us, and snooping through my personal belongings? That's beyond disrespectful." I was appalled that she had gone through my drawers. "You're the one out of line. Liam had a hard time at our wedding because of you. You not only stole a key but also invaded our privacy." "I'm done. I was willing to participate in family events, but not if you're involved." I hung up and texted my husband, "I can't stay in that house tonight. I'm heading to a business hotel. Clean the place up. If you can't handle Helen, I'll return to my parents." Almost immediately, he replied, "I'm sorry, I'll take care of it. I want to cut ties too." From that point on, it became a firm rule that Helen and I wouldn't be in the same place at family gatherings. If I was invited, she wouldn't be, and vice versa. After the wedding debacle, the number of relatives willing to include her dwindled, and my husband often attended events on his own. This marked the end of my ties with Helen. Now that we have a daughter, our first child, my husband and I decided to reach out to my in-laws. Throughout this whole ordeal, the one who remained silent was my father-in-law, George. He had essentially stepped back, unable to stand up to Helen, which caused our relationship to suffer as well. We felt George was a good man who deserved a connection with his granddaughter, so we decided it was time to visit. Initially, we considered asking Helen to leave for the day or inviting George over, but his mobility issues complicated things. Kicking Helen out of her own home felt awkward and unnecessary. Ultimately, we figured a brief visit with George wouldn't hurt, even if Helen was present. Surprisingly, the visit went well. Helen was completely smitten with our daughter, exclaiming, "She's so adorable. She looks just like her dad, reminds me of Liam when he was little." George, too, seemed genuinely pleased, his few words conveying more than I could have expected. It was the first calm and pleasant moment we'd shared with my in-laws since our wedding. A few days later, something unexpected happened. I was home alone with my daughter when the doorbell rang. To my surprise, it was a food delivery from my in-laws. The accompanying note simply read, "For her first birthday." We had planned to prepare something special ourselves, but I was genuinely touched that they had gone to the trouble. I decided we would wait to open it together when my husband got home, which wouldn't be for a few hours. A sense of dread washed over me as I opened the gift. My husband walked in just as I was peering inside and asked, "What are you looking at?" I replied, "It's a first birthday meal for our daughter from Helen," before tossing it into the trash. His eyes widened in disbelief. "What are you doing? No matter how difficult my mom is, you can't just throw away something she gave to our daughter. You need to apologize." Without turning around, I shot back, "Did you even look inside?" His anger flared as he retrieved the gift from the trash. At first glance, it might have seemed harmless, but as he examined the contents, his expression shifted from confusion to shock. Chicken feet, a cake shaped like a black cat, shark fin soup, octopus, and 13 peanuts arranged in a mirror, an entire display of bad omens. I couldn't fathom where someone could find such a bizarre assortment, but it was clear to me that this was not a kind gesture. It felt like a calculated act of malice. Seeing the contents, my husband stormed out, clutching the gift. I wanted to call after him, but he jumped into the car and drove off. Any parent would react strongly to something like this. As I tried to get in, he hesitated, his eyes searching for the right words, but one glance at my face told him it was best to just leave. We entered Helen and George's house without knocking, using our own key. "What the heck is going on here?" I demanded. In the living room, Helen and George were finishing off leftover chicken for dinner. When Helen spotted the gift bag in my husband's hand, she grinned and exclaimed, "Oh, it arrived. Isn't it a nice celebration meal?" Her delight was evident, but I was furious. "A nice celebration meal? It's packed with bad luck and inappropriate items. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it?" "Oh, come on, it's lavish. I put a lot of effort into making it. You should be grateful and use it." Who in their right mind would serve such a collection of bad luck and inappropriate items for a first birthday? Oh, were they really bad luck or inappropriate? I didn't notice. Her confidence left me speechless. I recalled the items she had packed. The cat-shaped cake might look cute, but black cats are often associated with bad luck. Shark fin soup is neither animal-friendly nor environmentally conscious, and those 13 peanuts pose a serious allergy risk for a 1-year-old, not to mention that the number 13 is often considered unlucky. The entire gift was entirely inappropriate. It was hard to believe she didn't understand the implications. And the chicken? Just a single leg, hardly a lavish offering. If they had sent their delicious fried chicken, it would have made for a much better birthday gift. "That's the crux of it. So you didn't know, huh? Then why don't you two eat it?" I challenged. "How dare you even suggest that?" My husband interjected, his frustration mounting. Helen sighed heavily. "You know, I've been thinking, you take everything so negatively, like that balloon during the family meeting. It was just a feminine touch. It's art, dear, art." "Art? You wore a white dress at the wedding because you thought it suited you. There's no rule that says a mother can't wear white." And at the cake-cutting ceremony, I wanted to create a lasting memory. "You two are the mean ones, always stealing my joy." Helen gestured dismissively. "You've been so spiteful, so why don't you give back the money spent on the dress and this celebration?" I was left utterly speechless, just standing there holding our daughter. "Are you kidding me?" I looked at my husband, whose face had flushed with anger. Whatever, you've embarrassed us since our wedding. You always sabotage events if you're not the center of attention." "That's not true," my husband shot back, tears brimming in his eyes as he recalled painful memories. "It was the same on my birthdays. You never wanted to celebrate unless you were the focus. Even the cakes were what you liked. I've told you since elementary school that I didn't want to celebrate anymore." A young boy saying he didn't want a birthday celebration? He must have really disliked it. As he spoke, tears streamed down his cheeks. My mom would still force a birthday party every year, and the gifts she picked were always for herself. I later learned she chose things like books that only she liked or craft supplies I would never use. When I said I didn't need them, she would say, "I thought it would be fun if we could use it together. Fine, I'll just keep it." That sounds unbearable. I thought I only had to deal with her nonsense, but now she's doing it to Olivia too. I can't take it anymore. "I'm cutting ties," my husband declared, a sense of finality in his voice. "What are you talking about? You're our only child. What's going to happen to us?" Helen's voice was a mixture of desperation and disbelief. "As if I care. I've done so much for you." Everything Helen did was for herself. My husband echoed my sentiment. "All the things Mom has done are for her own sake. She has to be the center of attention at any celebration. I can't imagine a future event where she wouldn't try to steal the spotlight. And honestly, that's just sad." "That's not true," Helen protested, visibly rattled, but my husband stood firm. He turned to George, his tone shifting. "Thank you for secretly buying me birthday gifts and taking me out to eat when Mom wouldn't celebrate my birthday. But I can't forgive you for not stopping her from ruining our wedding or for causing this mess. If she doesn't want to see Olivia or our child, then neither will I." George hung his head in silence, clearly conflicted. "We're leaving, and we're moving. You won't hear from us or see us again, and we're not going to tell you where we're going. Please rethink this." Helen's desperation turned to tears. "No can do. It's not just Olivia who can't handle this anymore. I can't either, honestly. I wouldn't even want to attend my own funeral at this point." "How can you say something like that? I hate this situation that much. I don't want to see either of you again. I'm sorry for everything up until now. From here on out, it'll just be the three of us." Finally, I found my voice, and tears of relief began to flow. "I'm sorry I couldn't understand earlier. It's my fault for not speaking up." "Let's go," my husband said, taking my hand. We walked out of his parents' home for good. Life became a whirlwind as we chose a new home and packed up our lives, the days flying by in a flurry of activity. Strangely, Helen never showed up. Whenever I casually mentioned her, my husband would let out a dry laugh. "I'd like to think Dad is holding her back." Now that we've moved to a different area, there are no more surprise visits from Helen and no more contact. My husband occasionally communicates with George, but they haven't met in person. Perhaps one day, it might be okay for them to reconnect without Helen's presence.